Long before empires rose, long before kings claimed the land, two giants slept, quietly shaping the fate of the world. On one side, the Yellow River carved its way through China, fertile, relentless, and ancient. On the other, the Indus surged through India, carrying secrets of cities that would vanish into dust. Two civilizations, unknown to each other, yet bound by a fate no historian dares speak aloud. They built walls that would outlast empires, canals that carried life, and marketplaces where wealth and ideas exchanged hands like whispers in the dark. In China, dynasties arose from these riverbanks, carving their laws into bones and bronze, leaving behind codes and prophecies that still haunt scholars today. In the Indus Valley, cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa rose with mathematical precision, streets aligned like veins, drainage systems that mock time itself, and seals etched with symbols whose meaning remains a mystery. Two civilizations, separated by mountains and deserts, yet strangely alike. Both flourished in isolation, both mastered trade and agriculture, and both carried a knowledge that would echo for millennia. And yet, they remained unaware of each other, their destinies quietly entwined, their futures silently foreshadowed by the rivers that bore them. Empires rise, but friendship with time can turn to rivalry. What began as silent giants, growing in parallel, would one day become two of the most formidable powers on Earth. The whispers of their early ambitions, hidden in stone and river silt, foreshadowed clashes history would later call inevitable. This is the story of knowledge lost and empires forgotten, of allies in time who would become enemies in destiny. The rivers remember, the ruins remember, and if you listen closely, the shadows of the past are whispering a warning. Though rivers and mountains kept them apart, the winds carried whispers between these two giants. Ideas, beliefs, and secrets traveled slowly, riding on caravans, traders, and wandering monks. What they shared would change the course of history and sow the seeds of both cooperation and rivalry. From the plains of India arose a belief that sought liberation from the world's suffering. Buddhism spread silently northward, carried by monks and merchants along dangerous passes, crossing deserts and mountains. In China, it found fertile soil, merging with local traditions, transforming philosophies, art, and culture. A silent thread bound the two civilizations, invisible yet unbreakable. The Silk Road was more than a path of commerce. Silk, spices, and precious stones traveled alongside ideas, inventions, and silent messages from one empire to the next. Techniques of warfare, agriculture, and governance passed in shadows, unnoticed by those who thought themselves alone in the world. Knowledge, once confined, became a ghost moving between empires. Both civilizations advanced, absorbing foreign wisdom while refining their own. Mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, and medicine grew in secret laboratories and quiet libraries. Yet the closer their ideas came, the more inevitable the tension grew. What starts as admiration can turn to envy. What travels as knowledge can ignite ambition. In time, these twin giants would feel the weight of each other's shadow. For centuries, they were allies without knowing it, friends without meeting, learning from each other in silence. But the winds of history do not remain calm forever. Rivers may flow peacefully, but empires, once aware of one another, will not ignore each other forever. The stage was being set, and the first echoes of rivalry whispered through the mountains and plains. As centuries passed, both civilizations grew in power and complexity. Cities expanded, armies trained, and kings consolidated authority. What began as quiet ingenuity transformed into ambition, laying the foundations for empires that would dominate continents. From bronze casting to advanced irrigation, from astronomy to mathematics, both civilizations pushed the boundaries of human knowledge. Yet each step forward made them more aware of the other's distant brilliance. Even in silence, admiration and envy moved together like twin shadows in the night. Trade continued, caravans crossing mountains and deserts. Yet with each exchange came whispers of power. Envoys and merchants carried not only goods, but intelligence. Both empires began to sense the other's presence not as friend, but as a distant rival, hidden in the shadows of geography and time. For decades, They grew silently side by side, unaware that the threads connecting them were taut with tension. Ambition, curiosity, and fear mingled. What once was parallel growth now teetered on the edge of rivalry, a shadow over the rivers that once nourished friendship. For centuries, India and China had grown in parallel, silent giants on opposite sides of mountains and rivers. But as their shadows began to touch, the fragile peace between them began to fracture. At the heart of the tension lay the high Himalayas, home to disputed lands, Aksai Chin and Arunachal Pradesh. Maps drawn decades earlier, some by British hands, some by ancient empires, offered conflicting claims. Each side saw the other as an intruder, a threat to sovereignty, and a challenger to national pride. The colonial legacy of the McMahon Line cast a long shadow. India inherited borders that China had never recognized. Every patrol, every village, every foot of contested territory became a chess piece in a centuries-old game neither fully understood. Beyond borders, ideology fueled the fire. Mao's China, newly communist and determined to assert control over Tibet, interpreted India's non-alignment as weakness. India, proud and independent after colonial rule, sought to defend its territory and establish legitimacy. In this crucible of pride and principle, small skirmishes escalated into open confrontation. Infrastructure and military preparedness, or lack thereof, made tensions more combustible. Roads, bridges, and garrisons were sparse along India's northern frontier, leaving troops exposed. Meanwhile, China's growing presence in Tibet was a silent warning, a shadow over the valleys that neither side could ignore. Miscommunication and intelligence failures amplified the risk. Patrols clashed, each side misjudging the other's intentions. Each retreat was seen as cowardice, each advance as aggression. And beyond the mountains, distant powers watched silently. Their observations, reports, and subtle influence, whether through diplomacy or intelligence, added unseen pressure to a powder keg already straining at the seams. By October 1962, the inevitable arrived. The Himalayas became the stage for war, lives were lost, and pride was defended with ruthless resolve. What had begun as silent parallel growth, misjudgments, and territorial ambiguity now erupted into open conflict. Old allies of centuries past, whose civilizations had once grown side by side, now faced each other as enemies shaped by geography, ambition, ideology, and the invisible hands of history itself. The conflict left scars not only on land, but on consciousness, echoing through decades and rivers, reminding future generations that friendship can fade, and giants, no matter how ancient, can collide. The war did not end the rivalry. It only froze it in time. India and China stepped back from open conflict, but the mountains remembered. The borders hardened, trust evaporated, and what was once a silent kinship between ancient civilizations became a permanent state of suspicion. For India, the war was a wound to confidence, a lesson written in blood and altitude. For China, it was a declaration, never again to be underestimated, never again to be encircled, never again to lose control of its destiny. Yet this rivalry was not born in isolation. It was shaped by centuries of humiliation, foreign intrusion, and memories far older than the Himalayan conflict. Long before the world watched China rise, it watched China fall. There was a time when China did not fight one rival, but eight. 8 foreign powers marched into its heart. 8 flags flew over its cities. 8 nations carved pieces out of an empire that once believed itself eternal. That war did not just cost China territory. It cost dignity, identity, and faith in the old world order. And from that humiliation was born a new China, cautious, hardened, and unwilling to ever be cornered again. To understand why China stands the way it does today, why it clashes with neighbors, why it never forgets a border, a slight, or a loss, you must go back to the moment it fought the world and lost. Because the scars of that defeat still shape every war China prepares for today.